Scott just made the point. Jefferson used to be a lot more secure, not just.
Last week, Todd Jones abruptly resigned as the director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms. His departure came almost immediately after a sneaky attempt to ban a popular type of ammunition used in AR-15 rifles lit up the headlines and failed once the American public caught wind of it. While Mr. Jones may not be around to ruin your enjoyment of the Second Amendment anymore, he has a new job as Roger Goodell's disciplinary enforcer and will now devote his time to assisting the NFL commissioner in destroying your enjoyment of professional football. Welcome to Trifecta, everyone. I'm Steven Cruiser, filling in for Stephen Green, proving once again that you can never have too many Stevens on ice in the company basement. Joining me are stalwart Trifecta regulars Scott Ott and Bill Whittle. Gentlemen, Director Jones may have had another job in waiting, but that really isn't uncommon for political types who leave work in Washington. And while there was no mention of his resignation being tied to the ammo ban, the timing is certainly curious, and as I am a comedian, timing is everything. I'll begin with you, Scott. This is yet another attempt at infringing upon the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding Americans by the Obama administration that didn't just fail, but failed spectacularly. Do Democrats in Washington and on the coast understand that this is happening largely because many Democrats in the rest of the country are actually gun enthusiasts, or have the political and media ruling classes become so insulated and imperious that they have no clue what their supporters want?
Well, I think they know exactly what their supporters want, and they know very well that a large percentage of their supporters in the Democratic Party don't want this. They don't want limitations on their ability to protect themselves. And so, poor Todd here turns out to be one of President Obama's trial balloons. How does that feel, to be a balloon that goes up and then just gets shot out of the sky? And this is very clever on the part of the Obama administration. They said early on, behind the scenes, that they're not going to go after guns directly. They have other ways of approaching this. And so let's just talk about banning one kind of bullet and see what happens there. Now, of course, they've now moved the window, because the conversation can now be about, well, what kind of bullets are appropriate to ban? Maybe it's not the most popular AR-15 ammo that we need to ban, but maybe we should talk about reasonable limitations on the purchase of ammunition. I think that they should really go all the way and say, look, we're not going to ban ammo, we're not going to ban guns. All we're going to do is ban the hole at the end of the muzzle. If they can do that, then I think they take care of everything.
Fortunately for all of us, they're running out of time to do this piecemeal approach. Bill, after Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi put on the brass knuckles to get Obamacare passed, the pickings became rather slim for their legislative victories. And since then, the president has made no secret about his willingness to get things done via unelected regulatory agencies. And we're in another presidential election season, and an old favorite talking point of the GOP during the primaries is the banning of certain federal agencies and cabinet departments. And they always go after the EPA or the Department of Education, both of which stir strong emotions and have powerful lobbies behind them. Now, it would seem that the ATF's duties could be handled by other agencies, so would the GOP have to spend much political capital at all to make a serious run at getting rid of it, and might this be a good place to start?
What a super grand, magnificent idea. That's one of the oldest saws on the internet is that alcohol, tobacco, and firearms should be a convenience store, not a government agency. And they don't do anything that the FBI presumably can't do better. Or, it was ATF that was involved in some of these horrific, genuine civil rights issues with Ruby Ridge and Camp Davidians and all that other stuff. As far as banning ammunition goes, Steve, all they're doing really is turning ammunition into even more of a commodity. I was up in gun shop in Coeur d'Alene a couple of years ago, and a guy brought in something like, 2,000 rounds of AR-15 ammunition to 223 or 5.56, depending on what you want to call it. He bought it for whatever, and the price had gone up by a factor of 6, so then he brought a couple of his rounds in and sold them for an enormous profit. This idea that, that you can restrict gun use by restricting ammunition is a little silly. I was out on the range just last week with a professional. I can't really tell you much about the guy other than to say he works for an organization that rhymes with Beals. He helped me zero in my sight, and I was hitting a steel target size of a piece of toast at about 300 yards. Now, if the jihadis or the zombies start coming at me, walking directly towards me, they're going to start being in some trouble. And if they're holding a piece of toast right here, they're in real trouble. And this idea that I should be able to go out there and defend yourself or prepare to defend a country, is absurd. And it gets more absurd as the federal government, who really has very limited number of actual genuine official duties. One of those is to defend the borders of the United States against armed invasion. When they not only are not doing that, but preventing the states and the individual citizens from doing that, then you know all you need to know about these so-called American-loving progressive leftists that are ruling everything. So, hey man, you know, the oldest thing in the book about Barack Obama, Stephen, is the truest. Barack Obama has sold more guns and ammunition than Colt and Smith & Wesson combined. He's the largest gun salesman in the history of the world.
It's absolutely delicious the way the anti-capitalist gun hater spurs gun capitalism like that. I love it. And by the way, I rarely differentiate between jihadis and zombies like you just did there. They're all the same to me. In his 2013 inaugural address, President Obama listed comprehensive gun control legislation as one of his top second-term priorities. He's met with nothing but resounding defeat each time he's tried to accomplish his gun-grabbing goals. Even California Governor Jerry Brown has vetoed gun control a couple of times since then. For years, the anti-gun lobby has tried to portray gun owners here as either mass murderers in waiting or crazy rednecks. And in reality, we are the normal citizens of this great and, for the moment, free land. The attempted federal usurpations of the Second Amendment are fundamentally un-American, which is precisely why they don't have the support of the American people. The Founding Fathers wanted us to be able to protect ourselves from governments that might run amok. It isn't an illogical leap to say that a government that wants to do so would begin by disarming its citizens. Thanks to the Trifecta team for letting me join in the fun this week, and thanks to all of you for watching. For PJTV, I'm Stephen Cruiser.